We all rise for the pledge?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So welcome to the May meeting of the Philipstown Town Board. We're going to apologize for not having an April meeting because of the fact that I was COVID positive and another council member was COVID positive, and one was traveling, so we wouldn't have had a quorum. So we apologize if it caused any grief for anybody, but we're here tonight with a packed agenda, which will start with a meeting of the Philipstown Depot Theater. So can we call the meeting to order? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So Claudio, you're up.
Under the Philipstown Depot Theater.
Go to the,
Under the Philipstown Depot Theater's bylaws, a special meeting of the members of the corporation, which is composed of the town board, plus one member of the rec commission, currently myself, Claudio Marzolo, and one appointee from the Philipstown Depot Theater Board of Directors, currently Steve Ives, may elect new members to the Board of Directors. The PDT Board has nominated the following individual: Damian McDonald, 460 East Mountain Road North, Cold Spring.
must be a good guy, lives on East Mountain.
He lives on East Mountain.
You got to be.
Which is close to Highview Terrace.
And I think he was on the board before, right? Or he has worked with the theater?
No, he's worked a lot with theater at Haldane.
Haldane, gotcha.
And we work together with Haldane, so this
Absolutely.
is
Well,
a work
if you
together. So
all,
I make a motion, we nominate.
can we have a second on that nomination?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you, Claudio. We can adjourn the meeting. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, that's it, we can go home now. Okay, approval. Yes, I wish. Tonight is not. Approval of minutes, monthly meeting, March 3rd, 2022.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Public hearing, local law number 1, 2022, March 3rd, 2022. Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Workshop meeting, March 23rd, 2022. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Workshop meeting, April 20th, 2022. Motion.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, Conservation Board.
Conservation Board met on April 12th, discussed a number of cases, one at 11 Las Shinju in Cold Spring, New York. Applicant is installing an 8-foot deer fence around 20 acres to explore the benefits of passive forest restoration. I guess that means keeping deer out and seeing how it affects the health of the forest. It was actually pretty interesting, the presentation. 15 Kings Dock Road, applicant is seeking to put in a pool, about 2/3 of which is in the wetlands buffer. So the Cold Spring Board expressed that in the past they've not permitted non-essential structures in wetlands buffer, so they did a site visit to see if there was a workaround with the owners. And finally, the Hudson Valley Shakespeare Festival came to the Conservation Board to discuss the changes to their plan, which most folks know about at this point, which includes removal of the 20-room inn from their plan, removal of the year-round theater, reduced parking lot, and removal of that parking lot from the wetlands buffer. Those changes reduced visitors by about 30%. I'm sure Bob will talk about this. And they were just keeping us updated on how the plans have changed. The next meeting will be on May 10th.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you very much.
Yep.
Recreation.
Good evening. I attended the Recreation Commission meeting on March 29th. That was the last meeting of the commission. And it was reported that the summer day camp is sold out. There is a waiting list if anyone would like their children to be on the waiting list. There are spots available in the theater and sports camps. The middle school night that was held was very successful with 108 children participating. Philipstown Park opened April 23rd, and it's now open to the public. And the next meeting of the Recreation Commission is Tuesday, May 10th.
Judy, is there a spring splat this year?
I don't think we have the spring
splat
race
this year?
this year.
The 5K?
Oh,
I don't think,
that's usually run by your friends with
Right.
recreation, but because of problems with COVID,
Okay.
we'll push back.
Okay.
Maybe we'll
Yes.
do it in the fall.
And the next meeting is going to be May 10th, correct?
May 10th. They
Five.
had to reschedule the earlier
That
meeting
was
in April
scheduled from last year.
Okay.
from last week. That's right.
All righty, thank you. Philipstown Hub.
The Philipstown Hub had a community conversation on April 20th, where prevention training was held for Narcan training. The Philipstown Hub's third annual virtual marathon is currently underway, and you can sign up at philipstownhub.org. You can walk, run, bike, or hike, and this is a fundraiser for the Hub, a virtual fundraiser from May 1st through May 31st. On June 8th, the Philipstown Hub will be participating in Philipstown Hub Day at Duchess Stadium. There's a game at 7:05 p.m., and the $20 cost of attending the game will be split between the stadium, the Renegades team, and the Hub, so that you get to enjoy a game and you also make a donation to the Hub.
What was that date? I'm sorry.
It's June 8th at 7:05 p.m. For more information, go to philipstownhub.org.
Thank you. Planning Board, that's you, Bob.
Okay, planning board, I attended the planning board meeting last month, as it has been in the past, and this month as well. We had a full agenda, but I'll go through this relatively quick here. On old business, we had Sadler and Lewinsky, 825 Route 9D in Garrison. Their site plan was approved. Cedar Hill Landscaping up on 18 East Mountain Road North. They approved the seeker and the site plan as well. Under new business, Hunter Potler, 201 Moog Road. They had an application in front of the planning board several years ago, which is approved. They're making some amendments to it at this particular time. They have pool and a couple of little small additions and some patios and so forth like that. Anyway, the planning board passed that it didn't require a site visit, so the applicant will move forward now with the planning board process. Hudson Highland Reserve was back on the agenda. They were there last month, but unfortunately with the packed agenda, we did not get to them. So this month, the board approved a 3-2 on their, it's called the FEIS application, is now submitted for the finding statement draft, will be submitted next month. As you know, they've been in front of the planning board for several years at this particular time. Last on the agenda was the Garrison Golf Course and the Shakespeare Festival, as Jason already indicated. After 9 hours of public hearing, they made some changes. I just want to let everyone know, public hearing does make a big difference from people to applicants. People understand what the concerns are to the citizens, and most applicants take that into consideration and make adjustments. As Jason already indicated, they're reducing the 20-room hotel, eliminating that altogether, they're eliminating the indoor theater, which was 235 seats. The project maximum number of people on the site at any given time went from 1,124 down to 853, which is a 24% decrease. The planned parking lot, as Jason indicated as well, is going to be moved further away from the wetland buffer. And the amount of cars went from 462 down to 381, which is a 17% reduction in car parking. And the parking lot's going to be gravel. They're also indicating the amount of water usage is going to be decreased quite a bit. The meeting was adjourned at 9:20. Next meeting is May 19th.
I have one question. So the theater, the permanent theater is closed, and that's off the
Plans.
off the plan.
Yep.
What is the season for
The Shakespeare
the
tent?
theater? I mean, is it similar to what it was at Boscobel, or what is
Well,
the-
originally, it could have changed, but originally, I thought it was supposed to be a little bit longer. Right now,
Okay.
it's the same. This coming season.
Well, this
is gonna
season,
be-
I mean,
gonna
the
be same.
proposal for the final
I
plan.
think it was going to be expanded a few months.
Okay. But it's not going to be year-round?
No,
obviously.
as far as I know, it's
Not
going
in
to be
the tent.
year-round, not in the tent.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bob. Zoning.
Mine's not as interesting as Bob's, but back in April 7th, they did approve, the zoning board did approve the 4 variances for a family in Garrison, and their next meeting is Monday the 9th, so that's all I have. It's the only information I got.
Perfect. Highway.
Okay, Highway, first of all, I'd like to, thank Carl again for all his 6 years of service with us. We greatly appreciate him, and from my understanding, went down to Florida and relaxed a little bit, and he's feeling much better now, so it's great.
Miraculously improved.
Yeah. So in the interim, we talked, Adam Hotaling is the interim, well, we appointed him as this highway superintendent at this particular time. And he'll have to run for election in November. So report from Adam. Work performed during Philipstown Highway Department the month of April. Crews were out very busy with road repairs from the winter months, repairing drains, catch basins, waterways has begun, filling potholes, spot grading on the dirt roads as well. Highway Department aided the Garrison Water District. As you've been talking about Garrison Water District for several months now, we drilled another well over 9D and 403. Unfortunately, that didn't yield any water there, but the highway department came down and dug the hole for the slop and everything like that. And when the well was completed, they came back and backfilled and seeded and so forth like that, which is real close to the community garden that we have down there at this particular time. But again, unfortunately, not enough water to really sink a pump into at this particular time. FEMA reimbursement was the amount of $52,167,000 from Hurricane Ida. As a result of current Hurricane Ida, the section of guardrail needed to be replaced on Indian Point Road where a tree had fallen on it. The new guardrail has been installed, and we've continued to working on fixes on other drainage that occurred during the storm while working with FEMA for reimbursements. We welcome a new mechanic, John Palmerton. I haven't met him yet, but I'm glad we got another mechanic because we did have our Anthony Garufi retired for many years of service here, which was an excellent mechanic. Absolutely. And we definitely needed a new mechanic to replace him. So I'm glad John is on board. I'll stop by and introduce myself to him this week, and so I can meet him. The Highway Department received approximately 25 phone calls, emails regarding road complaints and issues for the month of April. Highway Department spent approximately $6,100 on vehicle maintenance. Faithfully submitted, Adam Hotaling.
Thank you, Bob. Building and land acquisitions, we can discuss the highway garage during the, we have a couple changes to that, so we'll discuss it at that point. Cemetery Committee?
So I met with Tagger, the gentleman who is in charge of the cemeteries throughout Philipstown. We walked through this cemetery right here, right next to Haldane, and he is in the process of refurbishing all of the headstones. He's doing an incredible job. We are then going to be moving up to the one up in right past Eustis Road, and then we're going to start looking into the cemetery that is at 301 and Route 9, which is behind the church. He's really interested to see what's going on there, and he would like to clean it up, so I'm going to help him in any way that I can, and he has started to get into the cemeteries now that the season has changed and it's a lot warmer. So he's doing a wonderful job. It's pretty amazing what he's been doing. So.
Yeah, that's like considered McKeel's Corner or something
Yeah,
like that.
and
right
just these headstones, I mean, they are really interesting stuff. So he's doing a great job.
Okay, thank you very much, man. Appreciate it. Putnam County Legislator. Thank you very much for coming out this evening. It's always nice to see you.
Just wanted to say thank you for your proposal for the ARPA funding and share the growth funding. They've all been received from various towns and community-based services in the county, and I'm just waiting for those proposals to come before the legislature so we can vote on them and approve them and for you to get the check. I submitted a memo to the county executive asking for an update. It was February 28th when you sent your proposal. Yeah. We sent our joint proposal or letter of support April 15th. So, it's time that we know so that you guys can go into your budget process understanding what you have, hopefully for this year. Other news, sorry, I wrote notes. What else was I going to say? I'm happy to announce that Putnam received $706,000 in opioid settlement money So I'm also curious to see what the administration is going to do with that, and I would be, I would welcome any of your suggestions. Obviously, we have,
What was that number again?
it's a little over $706,000 in the opioid settlement.
I'm sorry.
This was the opioid settlement. And hindsight is 2020, I guess, in talking to people who expedited that process. I wish we had applied on our own, because we would have direct access to getting that
certainly
money.
affected.
So, there's probably going to be more rounds of that, I would imagine. On another great local front and initiative, we're making progress in the county. We do have a Philipstown resident, Ben Chia, who's been appointed to the Industrial Development Agency, so I was really happy about that. And hopefully you guys got the word that the round 7 of consolidated funding applications have been announced May 2nd, and there's over $150 million available for, economic development initiatives that, sometimes we access. A lot of our businesses have access to that, and community-based services can access that as well. So, look into that, see if there's anything that we can apply for or use. What else can I tell
We
you?
did endorse with the Walter Hoving. We sent a letter.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
That was not, I don't think that was a consolidated funding.
Oh.
That was a river, that was a DEC.
Oh, right.
John and I submitted a letter of support for the Hoving Home dam removal on Snake Hill Road, which is a wonderful project to restore that tributary, and it will go a long way in restoring the habitat of fish and
We can go down and collect Avery Road.
exactly. Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and that's going to be a really great project. And Beth Greco from the Walter Hoving Home did invite us to tour it. If you would like, I can
Neat.
set that up.
Love to.
Yeah.
Can we fish?
I'm going to bring my rod. That's where it just came from. And, I know there's a lot of upset about the Sprout Brook Road Bridge project. I've been hearing a lot from constituents down there, and there was an open public process with a public hearing. I don't know if Jason has been getting the correspondence in regard to that, and there was an HOA meeting that I didn't go to because I didn't know about it. But anybody that needs any information about that project, feel free to reach out to me at 808-1020. We've been answering constituents' concerns. It's a project, it's been engineered, it will be an improvement. It's not going to make everybody happy because they're losing their pedestrian bridge, but
Well, that's true, I guess. But overall, the deck of the bridge is 10 feet wider than
Right.
what the original bridge was.
and there's
Although-
5 feet on each side.
Right. Currently,
extra.
there is a very narrow bridge with a narrow walkway outside the guardrail, so it is a protected walkway. But the new bridge is going to be, I believe it's 10 feet overall wider than the old.
The original bridge, yeah.
And, I spoke to the highway super as well, and he said, we can't do a walkway if there's nothing to receive it. So the bridge being that much wider would come over to, a drop, so there's nothing
Yeah.
there. And it's wider than Winston Lane to begin with, so.
Well,
I understand they're not protected, but I still think it's safer because it's wider and the intersection is, and I'm not a traffic engineer, obviously, it's wider and it's being turned, because if you go there and try to make the turn on Sprout Brook currently, it's like a 3-point turn with anything larger than a car.
Yeah.
Which is going to be, also, it's going to have a sweeping turn to it now, so. I understand the concern.
I'm not going to
about-
argue with an engineer.
Right,
at this,
nor
so
am I.
if somebody has a better engineering plan, great. And if anybody would like to invite me to their HOA meeting, again, my number is 845-808-1020. There are dozens of HOAs in town. I'd love to attend every meeting.
Right.
If I know about them, I will go. So, yeah, any concerns like that? Thank you for your correspondence with the DOT about Route 9. I spoke to.
Yeah, I'll get into that
Yeah.
later also.
Okay,
so that's-
anybody have any questions for me regarding county?
Legislator Montgomery, can you update us a little more on the gas tax? Because I understand Putnam is lifting it partially?
We did that. That will start
Right.
the 1st of June. We did pass that resolution, so you will see some relief in your gas tax at the pump. So with the state relief and the county relief, it will make a difference. I don't know how much of a difference in the long run, but it is something, especially going into the summer season, I think.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you know, has there been any update on the share the growth, actually putting it into law and making sure that that's a part of county law going forward? Has there been any news on that? In terms of it going through the legislature? I
wasn't aware that that was what was intended. I'd be happy to work with you on initiating that before the legislature. I thought it was more of a gentleman's agreement for this, round of handing out the ARPA funding and handing out, our sales tax, which was, higher than expected again this month, which it's been higher than expected for the past 3 years. So why not share it with the towns?
It would
that
be great. to
Put
work on
into
that,
it.
yeah.
Makes sense.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, so moving on to the agenda. Tara, you're up.
First on the agenda is a resolution adopting local law number 1 of 2022, a local law to amend Town of Philipstown Town Code, Chapter 82, entitled Energy Conservation, to update the provisions thereof regarding the State Energy Conservation Construction Code, and this is a roll call vote.
Okay, so this has been on our books since last fall, and we've discussed this at length. We had a public hearing. Crystal Ford came and made a presentation. Our code enforcement officer was here also. I sat with Greg and went over it. Jason, I know you spent some time with Greg and Crystal as well. And basically, for new construction, it's more of a design change than any kind of building change. So it's really going to be affecting the design phase and it just implemented in the construction phase. It's also another step towards, improving the quality of the environment. So I'm certainly supporting this. Anybody else want to add anything to it?
No, it's a good thing. I think it's, we've got to give thanks to our Climate Smart coordinator as well. We're being such a small community that we are, but we're like number one when it comes to climate smart and environmental impact here. So I think it's a good thing.
I guess I would just add that it's gonna, it'll make future buildings 15% more energy efficient, and for anybody who's been looking at their electricity bill or their energy bill recently, that'll be a significant difference.
It's good time.
Yeah.
It's good times. Okay, so anybody else in it? We'll take a resolution to adopt the New York State stretch code for the town of Philipstown.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call vote. Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Farrell.
Aye.
Councilman Angel.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cotter.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay.
Next on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a Kubota all those letters, excavator, in the amount of $117,841.72 off the public bid contract awarded to Westchester Tractor, Inc. for the Highway Department, and this is another roll call vote.
Okay, so this was something that was approved in the 2022 budget from last year, going into 2022. We do a lot of work with the excavators, though I know the one that they have currently is in rough shape. I was up there the other day and they were digging with it and it wasn't looking too good. So we try to keep a more current fleet so that's more work and less repairs. So I would support a resolution on this.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Roll
I'm sorry,
call.
no, roll call. Councilwoman Farrell.
I vote aye.
Councilman Angel.
Aye.
Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cotter. And I vote aye. Okay, we're flying now.
Next is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 2022 Miller Kerber MC550 for the Highway Department in the amount of $10,600 through Hoffman Equipment, and again, this is a roll call vote.
Okay, to be honest with you, I want to question Adam about this. I'm not quite sure what we're buying this for. I don't know, I know we're not doing any paving any longer, but I don't know if he's using this for curb repair or curb installing. So I would prefer we table this until I could speak with Adam about it.
It's not a big deal.
Anybody have any problems with that? So I'll speak with them. We can meet next Wednesday and go over it if we need to. So I'm going to move that we table it. Or can I get a motion to table this, actually?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Okay, so, all right, so we'll table that. We'll speak with Adam. Next up.
Probably vote on tabling it.
I'm sorry?
Just say aye. Fine.
A vote on tabling it.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. A vote on the motion.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, thank you, Steve. Okay.
Next is a resolution appointing Adam Hotaling as acting highway superintendent to serve the remainder of the term, which expires on December 31st, 2023.
As we've discussed before, it was awful for us to lose to lose Carl as the highway superintendent, but we were very fortunate to have somebody so capable in the ranks to take over. So Adam was back and forth. He's had 24 years, or I think maybe a couple more, 24 plus on the job. So he was concerned. Obviously, he's going to run for election, so he had to make a decision whether he wanted to do this or not. So we gave him an opportunity. He discussed it with his family, and he is going to take the appointment, and he's also going to run for the office in November. So I certainly would support Adam as the highway superintendent. He's a knowledgeable guy. He has the crew's support. He has the board's support. And frankly, he's liked in the community as well. So until he starts doing stuff on the roads, and we'll see what happens. Things will change, I'm sure. But okay, so can I get a motion on the resolution to appoint Adam Hotaling as the acting highway superintendent?
So moved.
Second. Okay, roll call vote. Councilwoman Farrell.
I vote aye.
Councilman Angel.
Aye.
Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cotter. Aye. And I vote aye. Thank you, Adam.
Next is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a diagnostic computer system from Matco Tools for the Highway Department in the amount of $8,999.95.
Now, I think this was also in their budget from last year. Bobby, are you familiar
Yeah,
with
I'm pretty sure it was as well.
Okay.
And they need this tool to diagnose issues with the machines and the equipment and the trucks and so forth. Like, it's like you go get an inspection on your car, they hook it up to a computer. This is basically the same thing.
All right, so can we get a motion to approve the Matco Tools for the Highway Department in the amount of $8,995.99? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Adam's spending a lot of money his first month here. What's going on?
Timing is everything.
Next is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign the elevator service agreement from TK Elevator Corporation for the elevator in the town hall.
So this is one of these things, they put the elevator in, and then you have no choice but to sign a service agreement with somebody. So that's what we're doing. So the elevator has to be serviced. I think it's a yearly basis. Yes, annual. Yep. So I'll take a motion on this resolution to approve the elevator service contract.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Make sure no one gets stuck in the zone.
No. As a matter of fact, they call my cell phone if somebody gets stuck.
Who does?
You had to give a number, and well, I was here the day the guy was there, so.
Oh, when someone
If somebody gets stuck,
calls,
you,
right.
don't anybody do it now.
No, but it doesn't automatically call you, it automatically calls.
The service
the
company,
serv-
and I'm
yeah.
on the list, but
Okay.
I haven't gotten one. I don't think anybody even knows the elevator's there still, so.
I only used it once.
Yeah, I don't know. Next is a resolution approving the following change order for the proposed Highway Department headquarters in the amount of $10,955.62. And this one is for additional electrical work required for the radio communication equipment for EJ Electric Installation Company.
Okay, so this was approved by the architect, it was approved by Highland Architect, it was also approved by our construction management team, so I also reviewed it quickly, it seems reasonable, so Anybody have any questions, issues?
Well, without this, you can't operate the radio, so,
Right. So
you
it's
know,
kinda-
kind of got to have it.
Sorry, these are some of these things that are going to come along. It's also within the contingency, so it's not going to exceed the contingency at this point. So can I get a motion to approve the additional electrical work required for radio communication equipment from EJ Electrical for $10,995? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
John, I just had a quick question. On all of these change orders, is that when something comes up that was unexpected and they just write a change order? Okay.
Next is a resolution approving the following change order for the proposed Highway Department headquarters in the amount of $1,615.75, and this is for additional electrical work required for the entry card reader, again for EJ Electrical Installation Company.
So instead of having 100 keys that are rotating around the town, which we had here, but, and they had at the highway department, they're going to go to a card reader, so, you know, the guys will have cards, and it'll identify who's coming in and unlock the door. So guys and ladies, excuse me.
It's also good for security purposes as well.
Yeah, it records who's coming in, who's going out, so. So I will support this. Can I get a resolution on additional electrical work required for the entry card reader for the amount of $1,615.75?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution approving the following change order for the proposed Highway Department headquarters in the amount of $16,108.26, and this is for additional fire alarm equipment, again for EJ Electric Installation Company.
Again, these have all been reviewed by the architect and our construction management team. Originally, there was a discussion to do a sprinkler system in the building, but the water issue would have been of demand. They would have needed tank and pumps. So we had nixed that idea, and we ended up with an alarm system, and this is the cost of it. So I think Justin went through this whole
So
thing.
this is basically much cheaper than putting a sprinkler system.
Oh, yeah,
in.
the sprinkler
Right, so-
system was outrageous.
so- Right.
Because
so-
of the size of the water line coming down Fishkill Road, and we did put a new water line to the building, but it wasn't enough volume and pressure to maintain a system for sprinklers without doing a tank and a pump system, which would have taken up space as well. So we're going to end up with a better alarm system. So can I get a motion to approve the additional fire alarm equipment from EJ Electrical for $16,108.26?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution approving the following change order for the proposed Highway Department headquarters in the amount of $28,479.38, and this is for additional excavation for the foundations, and this is for ML Inc.
If you've ever done construction
Not a rock.
in the town of Philipstown, everything is rock. So in order to get the foundation below the frost line, there was quite a bit of pounding going on. I apologize to the neighbors that had to listen to it every day, but this is the result of it. Obviously, the foundation needs to be substantial and below the frost line in order for it to maintain the building for an extended period of time. So can I get a motion for the additional excavation for the foundation for ML Inc. for $28,479.38?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution approving the following change order for the proposed Highway Department headquarters for a credit in the amount of $14,414.95, and this is for the elimination of the jib crane, and again, this is for ML Inc.
So the old building had this old, arm that was attached to a steel beam inside that they used to use to hoist stuff up. The highway crew, Adam and Carl, were looking to replace that in the new building. However, the engineering was setting us back time-wise. The crane that they ordered was not going to fit under the roof line, which increased the cost of the building. So instead of doing one in the building, I suggest we just take it out. Let's not delay anything. And if we need to purchase something mobile on one of the trucks that we have, then we'll do that in the future. So in order to keep the process moving, we eliminated that. So And it's a credit, and it's a substantial credit for $14,000. So can I get a motion for the elimination of the jib crane from ML Inc. for a credit of $14,404.95?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign the 2021 sponsor authorization form for the service award program for the Garrison Volunteer Ambulance Corps.
So this is something we do every year for the Service Award Program, and this is for GVAC. They present this to us. It has to be posted and audited, and we endorse it. It looks like they have, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 people with 50 or more points, so. I'm sorry,
More-
9,
more,
8,
yeah.
9, there's 2 more.
Which is more than the last few years, I think.
Yes.
you know, which is good, because,
It encourages the volunteers to get out. It's a little something for them to give them a little more enthusiasm. So, can I get a resolution to request the sponsor authorization form for the service award program for the Garrison Volunteer Ambulance Corps?
So moved.
Second.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution authorizing the tax collection system upgrade proposal in the amount of $5,800 from Software Consulting Associates.
Tara, would you like to?
This is the same upgrade that you guys had approved last year, and we just never did it. So I'm just getting new approval since there's a new
Okay.
board.
Sounds good.
I think I might ask this question last year too. Does this enable us to take payments online with this?
Well, so I haven't finished going through it yet. So SCA is essentially becoming a new company. I think it's called PCI. And they have their own online payment system, so they sent me a bunch of documents to go through, but from what I've gathered so far going through it, it would give a lot more options for online payments in terms of like paying with a check or like a debit card, or even giving them the ability to send it through like Venmo or PayPal or
PayPal.
something. So,
that's
but
good.
I haven't finished going through it yet,
Okay.
so.
Well, that's good to have, hopefully keep up with the times people are using online.
I know, I don't have enough credit to pay mine with a credit card. That's for sure.
Neither do I. But anyway, it's good to have those options available to you.
Yeah.
More and more people, the younger generation, Venmo, PayPal, is, you know, it's the way it is.
Okay, so can I get a motion for the town board hereby accept the tax collection system upgrade proposal in the amount of $5,800 from Software Consulting Associates?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. This is what happens when you take a month off, I guess, right? 18.
Next is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 3D Bas Relief Carved bronze or brass-plated Town of Philipstown seal in the amount of $2,250.
Okay, so this, we did have a painting back here on the wall.
Yeah, it's downstairs.
Right, it's downstairs, and we're going to mount it downstairs. So this is more of an official-looking seal that would be placed on the wall behind us. In order for them to release a proof, they want us to sign a contract that we will pay for it. Once we sign the contract, they will give us a proof. We can then modify the proof and say, no, we want this color, or we want this, or we want that, but they want a contract. I'll leave it up.
Are they gonna charge us each time we send it back?
No, I don't
This is
believe
like
so,
a
Tara.
one-time, here it's the
Yeah.
two.
I don't believe so. I think we have some options to work with. If we want to table this, we can get some more
Well, I just think
information.
if we give them the money and then they give us the proof and then we go back and we wanna tweak it, and then they're like, sorry, you're just gonna give us a couple $100 more. and
Yeah,
we're like,
I'm fine with that. So let's table it. We can, Cindy, the court clerk, has done a lot of the legwork on this. We can ask her some more questions. I believe she has the money from.
I believe this came from a grant.
A court grant.
Yeah.
Not all of it.
Oh, not all of
There
it,
was,
okay.
I think we're only getting $500 from grant funds towards
This was
this.
one of the items that
Now,
was.
does this 22, does that include the actual end product too?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the product, the
Okay, that's
proof
not-
and the
Yeah.
product, so it's not.
Yeah.
it's not too-
But
Too
it doesn't
bad.
have to be bronze, right?
It
Could
does
have
not.
the colors of the seal.
Yes, we can change the color. Why don't we'll meet with Cindy, and then we'll discuss it some
That's
more.
on the
so-
table, we have to
Yes.
vote on the table in this?
Yeah, so let's get a motion to table item 14 for the Philipstown seal.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Second.
All in favor? And I vote aye.
Next is a resolution approving the proposed contract with Curbside Compost LLC and authorizing the supervisor to execute said contract and any documents necessary to carry out the terms and provisions thereof. And this is a roll call vote.
Jason, you want to hit on this?
Sure, so this is, the town board approved a food scraps recycling committee chaired by Karen Erdl and Eric Brown, Philipstown residents. Councilwoman Farrell, myself, Councilman Flaherty have been involved, and really it's just launching a pilot municipal food scraps recycling program in the town of Philipstown, hopefully in May, and this is it'll be a limited basis for Philipstown residents, but it's the beginning of a town-wide food scraps recycling program, which will be turned into compost, and we hope it will continue to grow. And this is just a contract. We reached out to 6 different potential food carriers. These are the folks that are going to come pick up the food scraps and bring them to a composting facility. And we whittled it down to curbside compost because they were the cheapest. They are picking up at Lane Gate Road, the closest to when we're dropping it off. And they also do residential pickup in the future. So there's the possibility of moving into a private residential service and other sort of pickup. They do not do
Okay,
Beacon.
because I know we talked
yeah.
to someone from Beacon as well, okay.
Yeah.
Just, I wasn't sure which
Yeah.
one it was, okay. Also, too, like I say, this is also gonna reduce our carbon footprint here, help us reduce the carbon footprint. It's amazing, after going to a few of these meetings, the amount of food waste and the amount of carbon it produces. It's very high, and I was shocked, to be quite honest about that.
Sure.
The pilot program runs for 8 months. The draft contract, because that's what the RFP went out on, calls for a 1-year agreement with, I believe, ability to renew twice after that. I think, Jason, you'd suggested that we make this just 8 months. So what I'd suggest is that if the board's going to approve this tonight, you approve the contract with the amendment that the term be reduced to 8 months. And then I'll just change the language in it, and we could send it over to the Curbside people.
Yeah, and thank you to Karen and Eric. I mean, this has been going on, and you and Bobby, it's been going on. There's a lot of work got done here, a lot of coordination. The rec department ended up going down and picking up the bins. The bags came in the other day. Adam called me and said the bags got delivered. He took them up to the former landfill site. So it's exciting, and I think there'll be a lot of interest, and it's great reducing the amount of garbage we produce, so.
Right. We're going to do a lot of outreach and education so that the public can sign up and register to get a bin.
Right, that's
The
all
kit.
still
It's all
coming.
coming.
Right.
Yeah.
Beginning May
It's-
16th.
It's pretty eye-opening, to be quite honest,
Yeah.
since I got involved with this, and then you're saying, I'm going, you're throwing stuff away, wow, this could be in the recycling as opposed to regular garbage.
Right.
I mean, it just makes you really think a lot, and make you think positive.
I was going to thank Tara as well, who agreed to help register residents as they come in, Tara, so thank you very much, because that was an essential part of it.
This is gonna be an alternate drop-off, right, Tara? And you're gonna run this down?
No, that was the stipulation.
Your home address was the...
Danielle, you had a question?
You said like eventually it's gonna go to residential, but how would it work initially? Like what was the idea?
So good question. So at this point, May 16th, registration would begin with Tara. People can come in and register, and there is a limited amount of service, so, people should come in and register. They get a voucher, then they can go and purchase a composting bin, and then we're hoping, what is that date?
Well, that
The
voucher,
21st.
they pay
Actually.
that voucher.
They're gonna pay when they
with
come
the
into
voucher,
me.
And they get the bin.
Right.
In the plastic bags. They get the bigger bin, the counter side bin, and the bags.
Not when they pay for the voucher, though. They're going to come, get a voucher, and then they're going to come here the next week and pick up the bin.
It'll all be.
It'll all be
worked out.
publicized. It'll be in the papers,
But
on the website.
And
So
then,
then you're gonna take your bin and go to our former landfill, and there'll be larger containers up there, and you pay,
So it's not like a garbage bin, it's like a bit, like a compost bin.
It's a it's a small,
it's like, what's it, about a 4-gallon?
it's like a kitchen size.
It's like a
container.
5-gallon pail. And then, and the one in your kitchen's maybe a gallon or
Yeah,
something
there's
like
a
that.
countertop one, and then there's a larger one, so. And then you just bring it up there, and we have 40-gallon or 50-gallon containers?
Yeah, like
Pretty
60,
big.
60-gallon containers, and drop-offs will be Saturdays from 9 to 3, at the same time that electronic recycling can be dropped off, that Bob's been working on, so, yeah, so it's great. Oh, and can I just mention that another thanks to Crystal Ford and the Climate Smart program that raised a grant that paid for $10,000 of this, and then the town also contributed money that it's gonna get back from the kits. But again, it's just, it's a great.
So we seem to be borrowing money from Crystal.
Christmas raising a lot of money.
She does.
Climate
Does
Smart
great.
Initiative.
Yeah.
Okay, so can we get a motion to adopt the contract as amended per the attorney for an 8-month period?
So moved.
Second.
Second?
Okay, it's roll call again. Councilwoman Farrell.
I vote aye.
Councilman Angel.
Aye.
Councilman Flaherty.
Aye.
Councilwoman Cotter.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Thank you. Congratulations. Whew. Next up.
Next is a resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign the Memorandum of Agreement between the Town of Philipstown and the CSEA Local 1000 AFSCME AFL-CIO for the extension of the collective bargaining agreement through December 31st, 2026, and this is Nug Pro Tug.
Can you say those letters again?
I can if you need me to.
So this is for our highway crew. There was some back and forth. They are getting a 2% increase per year for the extent of the contract, which is through 2026. There was some other minor changes that were negotiated. The crew was very cooperative. There was some changes that Carl had suggested about sick time, and I think there was a vacation issue that was worked out. So it went very smooth. So this was delayed for a while just because of COVID and back and forth and Carl's departure. So can I get a motion to adopt the CSEA contract until December 31, 2026? Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye.
Next on the agenda is a Mr. Sean Conway, who is here to discuss his proposal to display a Progress Pride flag at the Town Hall.
Welcome, Sean.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome.
So I sent a letter at the beginning of April and a second one with a little bit of an update. Do I need to read it into the record, or can we just, did everyone have an opportunity to read it?
We did.
Okay, great. So since I sent the first letter, we've met with the village, and the trustees supported hanging flags at Village Hall, in McConville Park, and down on the bandstand. Right. So the last location that we were hoping to donate a flag to is the flagpole in front of Town Hall. The flags were donated by 4 local business people: Amanda Amadai of Amadai Yoga, Charles Burley, who's a designer, Anthony Lease, who's a local attorney, Lease Law and Mediation, PLLC, and Michael Siebert, who is a broker at Houlihan Lawrence in the village. I can talk to you about the specifics of flag code if you'd like.
Of the what? I'm sorry.
The U.S. flag code, which stipulates how flags are hung in relation to the U.S. flag.
I've had a discussion, my own thoughts, and I think I emailed you back. Did you see? I don't know if you did.
No, I didn't.
Oh, I'm sorry. I maybe think. Okay. But my feeling is we have the pole is limited to begin with. We did display the Ukrainian flag in the front window, and I certainly would be in support of hanging the flag in the other front window for the length of it's month of June.
Sure, it's the month of June. Right. The current flag has fixings for a second flag under the U.S. flag that aren't being used right now.
The POW flag was there, and I don't know what happened to the POW.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
I remember because I think it was one of the
It's just
storms,
old
something
and
happened. I
ratty. We
remember I
just
had
have
to
to
buy
get
a
a
new
new one.
flag, and we didn't get a POW flag. But anyway, we don't have a POW. So I guess you wanted to describe to us is what's the
Well, I was
protocol?
just going to say that, when it comes to using a single flagpole with an American flag,
Yeah.
Any flag that is not representative of another nation can fly on the same pole, as long as it's below the U.S. flag and it's a smaller proportion. So as it appears outside now, there are the fittings for an additional flag that's not being used. We could order an appropriately sized flag to meet those fittings. In the case of the Ukrainian flag, they can't hang on the same pole because Yeah, because they have to be level unless the United Nations is involved or we are in war. And neither of those situations are currently standing. So the Ukrainian flag and the US flag couldn't hang on the same pole, but state flags, corporate flags, or other flags of any other organization can fly on the same pole as long as they're below the US flag.
Well, to be honest with you, in my gut, I think I have a problem with any other flag being on the flagpole. I mean, the POW flag, you know, it's traditionally always been there, and I have no problem with, you know, the flag, any flag representing, you know, your movement or the, but to me, it's the American flag, and I would gladly put it in the window. I mean, and I'm only one person on the board. I mean, that's the way I feel, and I'll leave the discussion up to the rest.
As June is Gay Pride Month, I don't have any problem with flying the gay pride flag, but, you know, I defer to tradition, if, you know, the rest of the board agrees. But I, you know, I would support flying it.
So I support the LGBTQ community, but I have to agree with John on this one. Putting any other flag on the flagpole, I think it's there for the American flag, and I have to, you know, go with my gut here and say that this building is not just a building for the town hall. This is also functions as a court, as a courthouse, and therefore any special interest groups or any other political persuasions, I feel, should not be really represented. Like I said, I'm in full support of the LGBTQ community, and I think it's important to get out there, but to hang a flag in a building that is also representation of a courthouse, I think I don't personally think that's what I would support it, or should be represented at the time, so.
I do think, though, I just want to add one comment, that towns across the country do fly the pride flag because it is representative of a community, and we do have many residents here, you know, who support the
Right,
community.
I have no
And
opposition to the LBG.
there is precedence,
Right, right.
so.
Also, the county courthouse does hang flags and light the courthouse during June. And that is a courthouse.
Gotcha.
so-
And it's a courthouse in Carmel.
Yeah.
I mean, my personal feeling is, and I think we all agree, I mean, that I definitely, you know, support what the flag stands for. It's a nationally recognized Pride Month. We all agree on that. And it's important for our community to show support for that and have it be a part of Town Hall. To be honest, I had never considered what flag code is, and you know, I think there should be so one, it's just complete support for Town Hall representing support for Pride Month. I think there should be a discussion on what, you know, as you've talked about, on what the policy is around what other flags can fly on the flagpole, you know?
And there was a decision recently, I think it was in Boston, on flags that could fly. Steve may be aware of this decision.
That was,
I'm sorry, please.
no, go ahead.
Once you allow one non-governmental flag to be displayed, you have an obligation, because you make it an open forum under the First Amendment, to display other flags. So what happened in Boston instance, and I think maybe the Supreme Court, was they allowed other flags to be flown, and it was a Christian group who wanted to fly a flag with Christian symbolism on it, and the court said, well, if you're going to allow flags to be flown, that's not government speech, First Amendment protected speech, you got to allow it to be flown. Now I believe that there is a group of Satanists who want to have their flag flown, so you can really open up quite a can of worms when you start flying other flags on your flagpole, unless you have other flagpoles designated for that purpose, and that's what you want to do.
Well, just, you know, and when we were renovating this building, we didn't, I got a temporary flag I put on the outside of the building on one of those poles. Maybe we can go and get something like that and put the flag and hang it up on its own pole attached to the building as opposed to the window. Just an idea.
Now, Gab, I have a quick question. If we were to put a pole up for the flag, then would that, like you just mentioned, would that open the door for more flags to be, and then we could just have.
I mean, it's probably no
any-
different with the one being in the window, correct? It's,
Oh, yeah, no, it's the same thing. If someone else comes and says, I'm in a similarly situated, institution, group of people, community, whatever, now fly our flag, you really have, but I think there's precedent for the town doing that for a long time. It's not the same with the flagpole. I don't think you ever had anything but the POW flag on that.
we had a POW flag.
That's the only other flag I've ever seen
That's
on
correct.
that.
Right,
And that's my
correct.
concern, Gaba, that you just brought up.
Well, that's a government, if it is an out-and-out government speech, it's government-sponsored speech, the POW flag, so I think you could certainly distinguish that.
So, but Steve, I guess the question is, say we had 5 other groups that came to us over the next several months and wanted flags, we don't have to, you don't have to flag them all at the same time, right? You could do it
Oh, no, of
week,
course not.
right?
No, but you'd have to,
We have 100 flags up if we did.
no, you don't have to fly them all at the same
No,
time.
no,
You have to
it's
make
only-
reasonable accommodation
Right,
to allow that
You can rotate it.
expression in that
So
form that
I
you
think the
provided.
policy will certainly be in order at some point going forward. We will have to meet and have a policy. Again, I think that, and again, I have nothing against the community. It's, to me, the symbolism of the American flag with the POW flag is unique to me. And like I said, I would certainly support hanging it in the window. We could get the right size so it fills the entire window. That would be my thought, and I would support that. But, this is a board, so whatever you guys think is best, so.
Yeah, I'm in favor of that, or like I said, we could get a little pole.
Or another
on the-
flagpole.
Like I said, a temporary one they put on the.
Yeah, we can put another, I have no problem with that either, but that flagpole is for the American flag and the American flag only.
I feel similar to Judy on a personal level. I've got no problem with on the flag, but on the flagpole, I think we all agreed about having it be part of town hall because we all agree on, supporting it and showing it publicly. But I think this conversation and the advice from you makes it clear that we don't want to have this conversation 15 different times without having some policy about how the decisions get made.
So do you want to look at another poll similar to that, Sean? Would that work?
Sure, if that's
Okay.
what the,
But we could put it to the side of the door, we can pick a spot wherever you'd like to put it, and we'll, put it on the building.
Could we
When
talk
you,
about the poll first, because,
Yep.
again, I am in full, support of the community. My concern is that there's going to be other communities that are going to want to hang their flag that we will not be in support, so.
But that wouldn't be any different than the window if we didn't have it on the flagpole itself, Steve.
Same thing.
Same thing,
So it's
basically.
the same thing, okay, so again, I'm sorry, I have to go back to, it's like, as Gaba mentioned, it's, once we open this Pandora's box, I'm just concerned about the other,
Gotcha. Well, I think.
symbols that might want to,
We'll
or,
have to get a policy in place going forward as to, what groups, we don't know what groups are
yeah,
out
we don't
there,
know what
so-
groups are there, but there
But
might be a
But
group
they
out
have to
there
be
that.
residents. Wouldn't they have to be
Could I ask
residents?
who made the
if it-
request to hang the Ukrainian flag in the window?
I support.
I don't know,
I think we just circulated that
We just
amongst.
kind of came up and I went out and bought a flag and said we put it in the window.
As like
That
a
was
support
that was the
for
thing.
what's happening over there.
I think one point here is that this was a very easy discussion because we all supported putting the pride flag and making it part of town hall. I think the question is, if we didn't support someone who
Right,
came, we don't have a policy to address that. So this was kind of like, oh, we all agreed. It was everybody was in agreement, but the problem is we don't have a policy on if we didn't support something, so.
Well, if I could just,
Yeah.
just because you don't have a policy now doesn't mean you can't adopt one going forward.
Yeah.
You've hung the Ukrainian flag, you certainly can hang the pride flag, and then in the upcoming weeks and months, you formulate a policy that will be the town's going forward, and you can, I think, avoid any problems that way. But I mean, this particular instance, I don't see a problem with putting it up in the window at all.
The window.
Or a flagpole, pardon
Or a
me.
flagpole.
Of course, you'd have to take the flagpole down if you decided, but I don't think that's
Well,
that
it's
big
one
a,
that you
yeah.
could-
Like the one I would.
Similar to what we
So
had.
the one I had out there a couple years ago, I would go get, I'm more than happy to go buy a new flagpole and we'll put that flag on that. It's fine with me, if you're okay with that.
Work,
I'm sure we can arrange for a flagpole if you give us the dimensions. that
Sounds
the
good.
Hardware can support.
and I'll even install it for you.
We'll have an event.
So I guess what you want from us is what size flag you need to order, or is there something, is that what you're?
Yeah, we're really hoping to be able to order them shortly because it's May, and obviously we'd want them up in June, and there's a seasonal rush on these items, as you can imagine.
There's 4 by 6.
Yeah, so there's 4 sizes that are available from the vendor that we're going to be getting them from. I would just say that the 2 by 3 size is
Small.
Yeah, no, that's,
well, it's also it's only printed on a lighter weight. The one that we want is sort of the weight of the state and federal flags that you have here.
so 3 by 5 or 4 by 6, whatever.
So 3 by 5 or 4 by 6, and whether it's, I think probably whether it's going in the window or going on the smaller pole staff, I think either of those would probably be fine. So if you want to let us know what size works, we can add it to our
Does that work for
order.
everybody?
Yeah.
Good, good. Meg?
Listen, I'm all for it, but I just think that the policy, like, we need to really go
well,
through
we
this
have to
policy.
develop-
We're going
policy
to
going
develop a
forward.
policy in the future, but right now, I think we're just gonna say we're all in favor of flying this flag
Right.
when the time comes.
So I don't think, do we need a motion? We don't need a motion, do we?
Well, you didn't for the Ukrainians. I don't see why you would for this. I mean, as long as the board's in favor.
Did we do a motion? We didn't do it.
No, we
I
just,
don't think so.
No, there
it
was
was
no.
one of those things, I just ran out and got a flag and put it in the window, it was just kind of a thing.
I'm just doing
After
some
I
quick
agreed
math
with
in my
them.
head, and I can guarantee you there are more queer people in our town than Ukrainians. So if we were really concerned about representing the people who live in Philipstown, I feel confident that I can rally up enough people to outnumber the Ukrainians.
So we'll get your flag.
About what happens with a flag that doesn't represent Philipstown. And
Well,
the
and
answer
that,
to
I
you
would
know,
leave to the discretion of the
That's
board.
going to be, that's going
Which
to
will be part of this, yeah.
So Bob, you're going to get the poll.
I'll get
You'll be
it.
in contact with Sean and we'll order the flag.
We'll order the flag.
You'll order the
He's
flag.
gonna
He'll-
The flag is being donated by
Right.
the
He's gonna
local
tell 'em what
businesses.
size.
But he'll-
But once we give it to you, it'll be yours, and we
Yeah.
hope that we see it every June.
So he'll get in touch with you, Sean, about the size of the flag.
Great.
All right, perfect. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Take care.
Please thank Teddy and Eileen as well for.
sorry, Teddy was working at the hospital overnight, so he's not here as well.
Thanks, Teddy, yeah.
I speak on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is a discussion of the proposed statute that would amend the general municipal law, the civil service law, the retirement and social security law, and the public health law in relation to emergency medical services.
Okay, I don't know if you guys have all read through this lengthy document, but there's quite a bit to it. I am a product of the emergency services that, I was an EMS professional that couldn't afford to stay as an EMS professional. So this is kind of important to me. It was presented by, Nance, help me out, the former EMS director from Putnam. No, Anthony Sutton. Anthony Sutton is in Westchester County now, has presented this, and it's getting traction throughout Westchester, and it's a proposal to the state of New York for a number of changes to make, basically put EMS workers on the map and make it a mandatory service. Steve, do you want to? It's basically, go ahead.
Well, I'll keep it short. There's a huge problem statewide and really nationwide as far as emergency medical service, ambulance service goes. If a private company undertakes it, they face all the problems that private companies undertake, plus there are limits on how much you can collect against Medicare and Medicaid. So it's very difficult to stay afloat as an individual company. Volunteer ambulance companies have to rely on, I won't say funding, but contractual contributions from municipalities in order to stay afloat. Pretty much every time that they go out to provide service, they're losing money. And in fact, if they don't actually provide transportation service, they don't get paid for the run at all. So there are a lot of areas in the state where there's no ambulance service at all. There are many, many other ones where ambulance service is shared. You know, we're fortunate in Philipstown in that you have contractual ambulance service to cover the municipality, but a lot of places don't have that. And even in places like Philipstown where you do, the costs of it are very substantial, and the ambulance companies have great difficulty in attracting and maintaining staff, qualified staff to provide their services. The pay is not great. So people in New York State are trying to think of ways, and really nationwide, to better work ambulance service so that it's financially viable and everybody has what's a very important service available to them. Right now, ambulance service is not considered an essential service in New York State. Essential services are things like police and fire and other municipal services that would qualify the people who work in them to participate in the state's health benefit and retirement system. So there's a proposed bill now in the New York State Senate. I don't know that there's one in the Assembly, which would make ambulance service an essential service, which would qualify the workers for those benefits. It would also require that every municipality provide EMS service in one form or another. The state, however, is not proposing to give you any money to do that. So it's a bit of a problem there, but it's something. It's a sentiment moving forward, because once municipalities are required to do this, then obviously people will look for solutions as to how to do it. There's a couple other provisions in the bill that regard establishing a statewide emergency medical services program, which may or may not eventually turn out to be something as far as the state getting involved in providing emergency medical service. At this point in the bill, it really just is establishing a program to come up with a plan for that. Whether the state adopts it or not is another matter. Now, the Municipal Administrators Association, which John referred to, has a number of other proposals for moving forward with coming up with plans for providing emergency medical service, but they're just discussion points at this stage. What they're asking for is the town board to adopt a resolution stating that it's in favor of the bill that's in the Senate to make emergency medical services an essential service, and the items that go with that. So that's what's before the board now, and you have to decide if you want to adopt that resolution or not.
In Philipstown, we have robustly supported our ambulances, and we have fully paid staff on both Garrison Volunteer and Philipstown. There is volunteers that also step up and respond, but we do have ambulance service here, and we've been paying for it for a long time, and like I said, it's a great investment to have when you need an ambulance to get one when you call it. So what I would suggest we do, we have to also meet to adopt the PVAC, GVAC contracts. I would like to present this to our local EMS workers and see if they have any comment, any addition, and I'd like to invite Kenny Barton, who presented this to us, to come in at a workshop and just give us his thoughts on it as well, and we'll go from there. So does that work for everybody? We'll table it and have them come in and we'll sit in there. Okay. So Steve, will you let me know when your contract is going to be ready, and you have the contracts ready, and then we'll set up a date for a workshop.
I'll send those over, sure.
And I'll contact PVAC and GVAC. So I guess we're going to table this. It was just a discussion.
Yeah, it's just a discussion.
Okay.
Next on the agenda is a discussion regarding the ARPA funding and proposed community-based projects.
Okay, so we do have the ARPA funds. We have our consultant on staff that's assisting us with spending it appropriately and tracking it. We did have a request from the board at the hub for additional funding. We have Danielle here this evening, who is she's still functioning at this point, but apparently to get somebody qualified to do your job, that they were at a crossroad and couldn't hire somebody to do your job. So they asked us for an additional funding of $10,000, which our board has supported. So we are going to distribute an additional $10,000 to the hub for the director's salary for this year. And as I explained to them, it's not an ongoing thing, because we don't know for sure that it's going to be there going forward. So, but we did step up. We're waiting for a formal request from a letter from, I did reach out to the board for a request in writing as to exactly what it's going for. And once we get that, we can release the monies to the hub to assist you guys. So, do you?
And John, it's just this, because we did submit a larger proposal, so is this in this is in addition to our proposal that's standing in front of you, is that?
Yes, we also, I mean, the plan was to do 50,000. Currently, we're still waiting with the whole Garrison Landing, whether we're getting assistance from Putnam County. We discussed that earlier, which seems like it's going to happen. Then we would do the full $50,000. So it would be another 40 on, so that would buy you 4 more years of salary. So, but that's the plan. But right now, it's 10,000 going to.
And that, a letter from me would be fine as the executive director for that request.
Yes,
Yeah.
anybody from the hub. We just need something from the hub, so, and then we can, and it's also, it's got to be tracked as, so if you want to get in touch with Susan, we can set up the whole process, so. Okay, so,
Yes, and the hub is, as we've said many times, an essential service throughout the pandemic and always
I don't think
continues.
anybody got hit, other than the emergency services, harder than the hub did during.
Yeah, and it's interesting that emergency services are being, talked about, they, they utilize hub services, it's like people are really, in terms of like over the pandemic, but then just everything that they encounter on a daily basis, and it's just, we feel so proud to be able to provide that service, and it's really very much like, these wraparound services that Philipstown entities are able to provide for each other, which, we had a therapy dog in this past week, and we had 2 emergency service providers attend that event to, just be in that space.
As you all know, we had a terrible tragedy in Philipstown not that long ago, and it affected some of the emergency service providers. And of course, the hub was there to assist us in getting them what they needed. So we appreciate, and you, Danielle, and everything that you do. Much appreciated.
I
Thank
appreciate
you.
the board and our emergency, service providers, and so just happy to be part of this, this town.
Hate to see you go.
Not moving now.
No, that isn't. So, and Judy and Jason have put together a presentation for additional requests that you guys have come up with, so if you want.
Yes, sure. We did want, and we know that we have a challenge with the Garrison Water District, but since there are significant ARPA funds and there may be more funding from the county, we hope that some of the other community needs might be met with some ARPA funding, and we have received a request from Philipstown Aging at Home for some assistance for $35,516. And from the funding that we've currently received through the ARPA, we were requesting $15,000 be made available currently until we know more about how much we'll have available for the Garrison Water District. But we think that there's enough available now. I know the town's already received some funds.
Correct.
And there will be more coming to support the request of the
Just to get-
seniors in
I think we have
Philipstown.
340,000 currently, and we're scheduled to get another payment this summer of 2022 for a similar amount, so.
So if we could put a portion of that aside for the Philipstown Aging at Home initiative, that would help to provide support for some of the services they would like to support the seniors in our community. We also recommended a town grant writer. I think Legislator Montgomery mentioned the millions of dollars in economic development funding that's going to be available, but we don't have a grant writer, and I know from other towns and town supervisors and council members that I've spoken to where they have grant writers, and we've seen it with Crystal Ford in our own town, they pay for themselves and moreover. So if we could invest perhaps $10,000 to get someone on board to help write the grants for some of this funding that could come into Philipstown directly, that would be helpful. Because we're missing out, I know other towns are getting grants, and we may be missing out on some opportunities because we don't have someone to do that for us. Sean, are you volunteering?
Yeah, you had your hand, you got the job, Sean.
I would love it if that person were to be identified or if that search were to begin, then perhaps we coordinate with the villages as well to see if that labor could be shared.
Joint position, right.
That's a
Because
great
I know
idea.
that that's a big issue in the village of Cold Spring is, kind of preparing for available funding early enough that we're in an advantageous position.
It's quite a process. It's a complex process, and it seems like we get the notification, and it's like a 2-week period to get it done.
Right, but I think to Judy's point, if we can find somebody who's doing a similar service for other communities in the area, then they might have the institutional knowledge.
And they know when they're coming. That's it.
Well, not only that, if you find someone that's doing it for another community already, they can basically duplicate that, what they just did for someone else, and do it for us. I mean, it's, you know what I'm saying? It's like
It'll
a,
pay for itself.
well, yeah, but it's, the work, the effort is already done, and they just duplicated it for
And Jason
for
had
us.
an addition.
Yeah, I think the only other, these are all proposals that we receive from local nonprofit organizations and community-based organizations that Judy mentioned. The last is a food security proposal. I've actually been working with Putnam County Cornell Cooperative Extension and Second Chance Foods and the Philipstown Food Pantry. I think we all recognize we've got to wait to see what the Garrison Water District fix is, but I think we thank the board for being open to spending some money now, because this money was supposed to help people that felt the negative economic impacts of COVID-19, and we all know that's mental health, which you've been dealing with, Danielle. It's isolated seniors and senior supports. It's very high food insecurity. Philipstown Food Pantry saw their cases double. So the money for the food security would be a start. And really, the estimate is that in Philipstown, only about 25% of current food security needs are being met. So I think there's the assumption that there's a lot of Philipstown residents going hungry right now. The problem is it's hard to identify them, and so this $15,000 would go towards this group of nonprofits and hopefully volunteer town residents who come together and try to identify residents who need food security supports. And I think it's really going to be kind of a grassroots door-to-door thing, because people don't just stand up in a room and say, I need help, and yeah, I'm hungry. And so part of that effort, I think, could also be in going out and identifying community needs, at the same time identifying more mental health needs and senior support needs as we're doing this sort of grassroots reach out effort. And so finally, I want to say thank you to Nancy. You're still here. Nancy kind of advocated for all of these proposals, has been in touch with groups for all these proposals for the county's ARPA funding as well. So, yeah. Thank you.
So my thought would be to support all of these. They're all reasonable amounts and requests, keeping in mind that ultimately we need to fix the Garrison Landing Water District issue, which we could talk about also at some point. But we'll have to put together, we'll contact a consultant, say, here's our proposals. They're going to look for a description, identified description as to, the use of the money and then the tracking of the money. So, but I certainly would support all of these. They seem certainly legitimate. And there is a need. The money's here, so I think we should get it out there, get it to where it's needed. So.
That's great.
Thank you.
Anybody else, any comments?
Just want to remind you about the website also.
The website, you need to put, if you could put something
Yes,
together for the
it
website. And I know
desperately needs to be
Kim Connor
revamped,
wanted
and-
to sit down with you as well,
Yes.
and somebody else on the board with technical skills, which certainly is not me, and just
desperately
go
needs
through
an
the,
upgrade, so.
go through the proposal. So if you could get something to us, that'd be fantastic.
Okay.
Thank
I
you.
have something.
Is that it, Tara?
Next on the agenda. Next on the agenda is just to schedule any workshops or meetings. Right now, all we have scheduled is the next monthly meeting in June, and I mean, as soon as you get the contracts for the ambulance corps and stuff, I guess we can set up a workshop.
So, Steve,
I don't.
let's look at the calendar here for a second. If I can. A Wednesday in May, would you think like the 18th or the 25th, you could have the contracts wrapped up and we'll
I
request?
think certainly the 25th, the 18th probably, but I can't promise.
All right, so does anybody have a problem with the 25th? Can we do the 25th?
Let's go with the 25th.
Sure. Yeah, yep, the 25th works.
25th works, no baseball games that night?
No baseball game.
So we'll schedule the 25th for the EMS presentation. We'll do the EMS contracts and get them all behind us. Do you want to reach out to PVAC and GVAC and Tara, or I can do it? Either way. And just let them know, we'd like their input, if we could forward this law to them and propose legislation to them, and then we'll get their input if they have any.
Oh, for the EMS bill?
Yes,
I thought you were
yeah.
talking about the contracts, sorry.
No, the
Okay.
contract, Steve's
Okay.
got to take care of it. So. All right, so we're on for the 25th of May.
Next is the Code Enforcement Monthly Report. This is for April. Fees collected were $55,870.45. There were 36 total permits issued, 4 additions, alterations, or repairs to residential buildings, 1 addition, alteration, or repair to a commercial building, 31 other permits, pools, decks, sheds, plumbing, HVAC, etc., 26 certificates of occupancy, 3 stop work orders were issued, and 2 inspections of public assembly. And the code enforcement officer would just like to remind everyone to service your chimney because they can cause deadly fires.
Yeah, it
We
seems,
had one a few weeks ago.
there seems like a lot of chimney fires right now because it's late in the season. People have been burning them all year and not cleaning them. So Greg's little friendly reminder to clean your chimney before it cleans itself. So.
Next is any other business that may come before the board.
I have a few things. If anybody traveled Route 9 in the past couple days, in the evening or in the early morning, you've noticed a huge traffic issue. So Tuesday, DOT opened or closed 1 lane on Route 9 just adjacent to Countryside Motel. I don't know if you're familiar, just south of the Dutchess-Putnam border. So it was a red light, so Route 9 is down to 1 lane. There's a light, lets you go, stops the other direction. So Tuesday was the first day it went into effect. Tuesday evening, the traffic was backed up to the Westchester County line. So it was an estimated 13-mile traffic jam. So obviously that didn't work too well. So I spoke to DOT on Wednesday, New York State DOT on Wednesday mornings. We got to do something. I contacted Senator Skoufis. He hooked me up with the director for the area. I also contacted Sheriff McConville. So Wednesday morning, it was also backed up north of 84. Wednesday during the day, we did get the Sheriff's Department, Sheriff McConville put 2 units out there at rush hour, like from 4:30 to 6. They opened up the northbound lane, made the light green. They sent the southbound traffic, which is minimal in the evening, through Old Albany Post Road. So that was the correction. I went through at 5 o'clock. I may be a 5-minute delay, which is going to be expected. Today, Bobby, myself, and Adam met with several DOT engineers to try to work out some different scenarios. One was including Old Albany Post Road on a permanent basis, which I think would draw some attention from the people that live on Old Albany Post to have all that Route 9 traffic coming through there. This morning, instead of the sheriffs being there, the contractor provided flaggers to do the similar scenario as what the sheriffs did. They had no issue. There was no traffic. So I think people are learning, stay away from Route 9, and they're taking 9D and or the Taconic Parkway or 684 for north and south. I know 9D was backed up this morning. Tara, you had said there was some.
Well, they were doing some construction in a couple different spots.
There was
but it
other
wasn't
people saying there was a larger volume, and obviously they're going to get some volume.
Yeah.
But bottom line is the bridge has to be replaced, and it requires 1 lane being closed. So this evening, the Sheriff's Department was also there, the flaggers were also there. I was going to be notified if there was a traffic issue this evening, and there wasn't. So I think the first night, it was a nightmare, the second morning, but people are learning, stay away from it. And they also changed the sequencing of the lights. So in the morning, there's a longer green light going south, and in the evening, a longer green light going north. So I didn't go that way this evening, but I wasn't notified by the sheriffs that there was a problem. So I'm hoping that it's working. Plan B would be to utilize Old Albany Post Road, which goes behind the motel, which was Route 9 at one point. But I really want to resist doing that to the residents of that road because it would increase their traffic and noise and dust. And there is a bridge on that road that DOT is willing to assess for us. Obviously, they're creating the problem. So they're going to assess that bridge to make sure it's mandatory, that has the ability to handle the truck traffic. And I said, it's probably going to need to be paved when you're done. So he kind of laughed, and he said, well, we could arrange something along those lines as well, but.
Well, luckily, it was recently paved not too long ago.
Yeah, well, we don't need to tell them
No,
that.
it needs to be repaved.
Yeah.
Needs a cap on it, anyway.
So that's what went on today. So.
Yeah, also too, John, I just want to mention, I asked him about some other options. I says, maybe you can work a couple nights, as opposed to just during the day. So they're gonna sit down, come up with some options and present it to us. So also, I think we're gonna be in 2 to 3 months like this. At some point in time, they're supposed to be able to open up so we have traffic flowing in both directions. Still during the construction period.
Right. They told me the bridge won't be done until October, but there'll be a 2-month period where it'll be 1 lane. So after 2 months, it should be sailing both directions.
So
with the
they're supposed to be done by October?
The bridge is supposed to be complete by October, but there's a 2-month period where it'll be a 1 lane.
Understood,
Is what
okay.
they're expecting at this point, so.
All right.
So that was it for that. The highway grant, the grant for the highway garage, which we notified everybody last month that it was removed from the town of Philipstown because of the per capita income in Philipstown was too high. We were approved, our congressman assured us the money. If the bill was approved, it was approved, we were supposed to get it. I had a phone conversation with USDA Rural Development 2 weeks ago, and they asked me the median income for the town of Philipstown, and we far exceeded the limit for the grant. So they did offer us a 30-year 0.5% loan, which I said, well, that maybe could help us out in the long run. In the meantime, the congressman's office, Ernest Klepsis, who works for Congressman Maloney, said, don't give up, we're not giving up on this. So I spoke to him Monday of this week, and apparently there is hundreds of communities in the same situation as we are. So there's $1 billion that's been approved that can't be released because of this per capita income requirement. So they're looking to create a waiver to allow this money to come down to the communities. If that happens, we will be receiving the $1.78 million towards our highway garage. They're not giving up. Even if the waiver doesn't work, they're going to seek legislation to get the money released at a legislation level. So that's the update on the highway garage. Garrison Landing Water District discussion. We now have 5 wells in total, and we don't have enough water to supply Garrison Landing with water. So we did get a recommendation from the town engineer, Ron Gaynor, to hire a hydrogeologist to go out and assess the 5 wells that we have and the terrain and the property that we own in that community. So, to seek another location to drill a well. I'm not in favor of drilling another well at this point unless the hydrogeologist thinks it's a good idea. So the proposal is $4,600 to come out and assess the 5 wells that we have, assess the plates in the area, the terrain, and to make a suggestion to us as to the best route to get more water out of these wells or to possibly drill another well, so which makes me very nervous. But I'm in support of making a deal, getting the guy to come down and do the assessment. So anybody else?
Yeah, I think it's well worth it. I mean, we drilled 2 wells already. We spent thousands and thousands of dollars. We're spending thousands and thousands of dollars as trucking water. So
Yeah.
for $4,600 is a drop in the bucket from what we're spending now.
No pun
For these
intended.
to take a look at it. So definitely, I think it's well worth the money.
So I'll contact him tomorrow. Is anybody else?
I agree.
Yeah, I mean,
It's a worthy investment, and hopefully he finds some
He
water.
was successful at the Capuchins, getting a high-yield well out at Capuchins, so I'm hoping it'll work for us as well.
Hope so.
He's got an extensive resume, he's been doing it for years, lived in the community as well, so I'll reach out to him tomorrow, so.
Nancy, you have something to add?
Yes.
Remind me how much you spent on trucking water in last year.
We've spent $800,000 since we've started trucking water in. It's crazy. It's
Yeah.
crazy now. We did also meet with the tenants for the Highland Country Club. We were exploring hooking into their well. The water quality is not the best, but Ron Gaynor is looking into that as well. And then they're also open to us going through their property directly to our water tower at the rec center. So these are all possibilities. That was ultimately what we presented to Putnam County, but that route was lower towards the railroad tracks directly. This would be right across Highland Country Club. There is an access road behind it, which would go behind the building, the tennis courts, and the golf course, and come right to our...
Much more direct.
Yeah, it's a direct, it's like 3,000 feet versus 5,000 feet. But Ron, we just did this, when was that?
About 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, maybe not, I don't
Not even a
think.
week and a half ago.
So they're open to it, it'll benefit them, it'll benefit us, and, ultimately, that's the solve, to get connected to the rec center where we have a storage of water and we have 3 high-yield wells, so That's all I have. Anybody else? I mean, it is.
Have you had any response to your letter, John, the Supervisor Van Tassel,
Yeah.
to Metro North?
I have not gotten a response from them yet, but
Regarding
the
the
resolution
Breakneck
went in, the
Station?
letter went in, they acknowledge that they have it, but no decision has been made. But it will be closed until Memorial Day weekend at this point, so, which is a 2-month extension from what they wanted. They wanted it open in March, so.
A couple things. Jason mentioned on e-waste. We're really ready to start the e-waste program up again, but I think I'm gonna wait a few weeks. I'd like to start it on June 1st, because it's gonna be a 6-month pilot program. And in the meantime, we need a little bit of space to get ready for the food scrapping up in the landfill recycling center. So look at starting e-waste on June 1st, around thereabouts, so this way we get the food scrap thing moving ahead of this a little bit and get that going. I have one other request. I'm calling upon local artists in our community, if they're willing to donate paintings or photographs. We have this brand-new building here with this no artwork. So if anyone in the community is willing to donate some type of art that we can hang on our walls, it'd be greatly appreciated.
We do have the old photos and stuff too, right?
I don't know.
And the plaques. we
I
have-
don't think we have many of the old photos, like that big one that was down there, that was Tina's, so she
Yeah,
took
that
that
was
when she
Tina's,
left. We
right.
do have, I know the plaques that were on the walls downstairs are next door. I don't know what happened to all the stuff that was on this wall, though.
It's gotta be your side.
I don't know where it is.
Because it was the photos of, the supervisor's photos. Wasn't it?
You get to be on the wall?
Well, I mean,
Only after he's
I was
out of
thinking
office.
back here, Meg.
So
Wait, let me
anyway,
fix my hair.
so if there are any local artists that were willing to donate some of their artwork, we would be appreciative of taking it and putting it on some of our walls.
Do you mind if I send out an e-blast?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Just
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
Staying that?
You volunteered?
Nancy gonna do a picture of me?
I donated one
Some
downstairs to my
curation
mother,
process,
so.
another policy, okay, we need another policy, right, on the curation.
Yes.
I'm gonna send you a list of all the stuff we could take for e-waste too, for an e-blast, but we'll wait a week or so.
Yeah.
What's, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's here, it's gotta be here.
That's
There was several plaques and pictures that, they have to be here somewhere.
Well, the one,
Seal said she's got them in her basement. So,
I think the one that was up here that had his picture, I think that was given to Maureen.
oh,
I'm pretty sure that when they started to
Well, we're
demolish it,
getting back
I feel like they gave it to Maureen,
Maureen,
but
do
you
you
can
wanna
ask her.
donate?
I could be wrong, but I
could
think
have
they
it.
did.
well, we'll make a
It's
rep,
probably a safe thing to do, just in case.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
okay.
Happy Mother's Day to all Memorial Day.
The audience, we need to call on the audience.
Oh, yes.
Anybody? Yes, Meg? Oh, no, you have to come on. Don't be shy.
Hello. Most of you know me. I'm Maggie Valentine. I'm a board member on Philipstown Little League, and I'm just here to underscore the importance of building new fields for the program, the Little League program. I was told to go to the Rec Commission meetings, but they've been canceled recently, so we're in the middle of our season, and you know we don't have enough field space, especially for softball. We've grown 600% over the last 2 years, from about 14 girls to 7. And it's the excitement's growing, but we don't have a field. There's no softball field. We use Haldanes, which is wonderful. They're great, but as we grow the pipeline in Little League, that's the pipeline for Haldane. They're expected to have 3 teams next year with the modified at Garrison. And it's already been crazy, right? Because Little League gets kicked off at the whim, which is, again, as it goes. So, any direction or support, if we could get that going. I know there's space at the rec center. It's also becoming an equity issue. We've got, since softball is all girls and baseball is predominantly boys, through the Little League's partnership with North Highlands, they've got 2 beautiful fields that they use up there, and they're maintained and they're wonderful. And softball has no fields, 0 fields. So it's becoming really tough. It's becoming tough. And I'm all for the grant writer position, because the girls 10U Philipstown softball team just played the Town of Poughkeepsie and won. But they were telling us, the Town of Poughkeepsie, that they secured 2 grants from T-Mobile and another organization to build a couple more fields up in their community, field.
It's
So
amazing when you go to these other communities and see the facilities.
Field envy.
We
Facilities
went to
envy everywhere.
Wappingers, I can remember going to the Wappingers, and you're just like,
We won last night too, against
Great.
Wappingers.
Won that game too.
so there is a
But-
rec commission meeting on May
10.
May
Okay,
10th.
let's
That's
do it.
where
We'll
the
get it
process
going.
starts.
So-
And
And
there
there's support, there's a lot of organizations that want to support it. We'll have to bring people to the meetings, but it would be
is
great.
a baseball diamond approved on the rec master plan for
Okay.
the Garrison site at the,
Baseball, though.
Softball.
Let's get one without a mound.
it's a diamond, let's put it that way. There's a
We'll take a
baseball
diamond.
diamond, right.
Wasn't the village, Cold Spring, considering building a softball field down at the Mayor's Park? It was in the paper.
Yeah, but it
and
floods.
everything.
It floods all the time if it rains. It's just not a,
It's a good
Understood.
practice. It's great for practice because we have so many teams, right? So we can say we're getting kicked off of the Howling Field. Sorry, it's a great place to practice. As Maggie said, like, our girls will get kicked off of the Howling Field, rightfully so. They have a game, and then we'll use hopefully the lower field, and then it's a great practice field to go down. But to actually physically play a game and host a game,
It has to be.
if Haldane rocks in on next Wednesday and says, we have a game, we have to cancel our game, our practice, and, as Maggie
In
said,
Fishkill, they have the combined fields where if it's used for baseball, they have a mound that they drag out.
and we'll take a field with a, removable mound.
Right,
We just
right.
would
I
love
mean, it's
some
just
place
so
that we
it's-
can call our own.
It can be
and
used for both.
Not have to worry about scheduling other entities coming in, so.
I think it's important, as Maggie mentioned, like, we're trying to get to these rec commissions, and so I think it's important that the town, if you're listening, we're all being, get out to the rec commission meetings if you really want to push for more
Absolutely.
youth activities and have that multi-use fields for
it's
softball,
growing.
baseball, track, whatever you're interested in.
That's where it begins.
Well, we have to have a meeting in order for
May
it
10th,
to.
right, June?
May 10th,
May
next
10th.
Tuesday.
Be
The
there.
rec center, 7:30.
7:30 at the rec center. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Yes, Danielle.
This is just my resident hat that I'm wearing, but,
Good.
and as a runner, and I know there's people on here who are cyclists, the speeding has been just out of control coming from 9 to into the town, into the village, and it's as someone who's out there 5 days a week, through for 12 years, 13 years, it's just gotten bad, and especially on nice weekend days when there's people coming in from out of town, and I just don't know whose periphery. It's always confusing, right? It's State Road. I stopped a sheriff, and I said, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I'll try to put more patrol out there." But there's usually someone just sitting at the Nelsonville substation, and then where nothing's really happening, and where they could be kind of getting people coming off Fishkill. There's kids eating ice cream. I mean, it's just
Yeah,
and
busy
we know,
spot.
I know everyone on here knows the problem, and people watching as well, but I just have seen it getting worse and worse, and I just wanted to bring it up.
Well, the concerns with the children walking to school, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, kids
Oh,
walk
and-
across that crosswalk, and listen, cars are not paying attention to these tiny children that are walking to school, so I'm
I will
with Danielle.
contact Sheriff Conville
And they don't
tomorrow,
have to be
and,
tiny.
Captain Gingelis, who
Thank
lives-
you.
So I'll contact both of them tomorrow and say, we need to address the speed on 301. So
Great, thank you.
You got
How
it.
do we get those, this is your speed signs? Those are always very effective with me. Well, when okay, slow down.
I'm sorry, this is what?
301.
301.
Coming on 9.
You get on it too, Nan.
Yeah, I'm on the traffic safety board.
Yes.
John was too, and we all know.
Exciting stuff.
It's very exciting,
Yeah.
those meetings, and I can bring it up there, and also probably you'll put a call into the sheriff.
I will
and,
tomorrow morning.
And those are hard to come by from the county, but we can request.
And I bet the people on Main Street probably wouldn't want that flashing all night long. I'm just gonna make that statement.
But you put them up for a while.
Danielle, you want that in your phone?
It's also at the corner of Fishkill, there's not really, the house,
Right.
I think it's workable, something, I don't know, I'm not claiming to know the answer, but.
Yeah, well, we'll call them.
Yeah, I think something.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I was out there cleaning 301 on Saturday, and it was terrifying.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yep, 90 is scary too.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay, anybody else? Seal, you got,
I need money.
you need money? So do all of us, yeah.
You're passing out so much money.
Okay.
We need to change it.
needs money.
We have no vacancies. That's fantastic. Approval of vouchers. We got all the vouchers done last night, I think.
Think we're good.
Pretty much.
Fantastic. Susan will be happy. Approval of vouchers, general.
So moved.
Second.
Second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Highway.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Park District.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Continental Village Water District.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And I vote aye. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. That was a lot of work in an hour and a half.
Second.
I second to be adjourned.
A lot of paper.
Thank you all. Appreciate it.